We are 6-2, and it has never felt so damn good. What up, Don Mafia? Welcome to yet another edition of the Don Mafia Report. Ladies and gentlemen, just to remind you, we are 6-2. The Buffalo Bills are 6-2. It blew my mind too, because being a Bills fan, I never would have thought that during the midway of the season, I could look you in the eyes and say, holy hell, the Buffalo Bills have a shot of making a run of the playoffs. And I think I deserve to say that as well. I mean, I think our team has showed resilience, and I really think that they've done a lot of incredible things during the offseason and have made adjustments during this current season to really make us a contender for the AFC playoffs. It blows my mind too, because, right on a consistent basis, and I do read a lot of takes from people on Bills Twitter or some of the various Facebook pages, Facebook groups of some people still complaining. I mean, honestly, you would think that the Buffalo Bills are 2-6 by how pissed off some of our fans are. But in my opinion, I really don't think that it's their fault. I mean, 25, 30 years worth of deep wounds being cut are just rearing their ugly head, because you know why? We are so used to losing that once we start winning, no one really knows how to react. It's funny because, a lot of the criticism that I see is that the Buffalo Bills are barely beating bad teams. But you need to remember, Bills teams of the past, we would not beat bad teams. We would consistently lose to teams that we were supposed to beat. But not this year. We are beating the teams that we are supposed to beat. And in my opinion, that's a huge improvement, and that's very telling for our team moving forward. And seriously, guys, we have only lost to the New England Patriots and the Philadelphia Eagles. Both teams were recent Super Bowl champs. So, in my opinion, just enjoy the ride. And because at the end of the day, the only stat that really matters is a letter, a W or an L. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 6 W's this year, and your boy, super happy about that. But besides that, ladies and gentlemen, we are 6-2, and we are midway through this season, so I thought in today's video it would be super appropriate to grade each and every single facet of the 2019 Buffalo Bills and see where we stand. Let's just dive right in. So first, we need to talk about our quarterback, Josh Allen. Now, he is hands down the number one topic of debate when it comes to the Buffalo Bills this year. Some people, regardless of his performance, thinks he's a bust. And while other people, they think that he is the franchise guy. In my opinion, right now, could care less, because he has shown drastic improvement. Last year in 2018, while he only played 11 games, his completion percentage was abysmal. It was about 52.9%. Now, we could blame that on his lack of offensive weapons, the terrible offensive line, but regardless, that number is nothing to ride home on. In fact, he was the league's lowest completion percentage throughout the entire NFL. But this year so far, he has shown drastic improvement. Not only, which is raised to a 60.9%, and besides that, he's starting to make better decisions. Minus those first 4 games, we'll completely forget about those. What I have seen from this guy is leadership and resilience. In fact, one interesting stat, the man leads the league in fourth quarter comebacks and game-winning drives with 4 apiece. Now that says something about a quarterback, that regardless of how close the game is and when several other athletes would crumble under the pressure, Josh is stepping up and leading our team to victory. Now, don't get me wrong, there's several things that he needs to improve on. The first 4 games of the season, he was turnover happy. He threw like 7 interceptions. But then these past 4 games that he played, the second quarter of the season, he has only dropped 1 interception itself. He does have a problem holding onto the ball as far as his fumbles are concerned, but only 3 of them have gone the other way, and he has yet improved on that as well. He's not a finished product, and I really love that man under center this year for the 2019 Buffalo Bills, and I have a feeling that he's only going to get better as the season progresses, and hopefully within a run in the playoffs. As far as a grade for Josh Allen is concerned, I am giving him a B. So next we need to talk about our running back core. Now, who the hell were to think that a 36-year-old running back and a largely unknown running back that went in the third round of the NFL draft this year would be making such noise? Now, I totally understand that Frank Gore did not have a fantastic game this past week against the Redskins, but the man is still averaging 4.6 yards a carry. And our boy Devin Singletary, who is finally unleashed, he's averaging 6.7 yards per carry. Our run game is very, very efficient. We are in the top 10 in the NFL, and that seems to be really what is keeping us in these games. As far as from an offensive standpoint, clearly our defense is the reason why we're doing so well. But our running attack has improved tremendously from last year, and I could not be happier. I am a huge advocate of continuing to give production to Devin Singletary because last week against the Washington Redskins was the most exciting thing I have seen from this Bills offense all year, and I really hope that Dable continues to make him part of the game plan. As far as our rushing attack is concerned, I am giving our running backs a B+ grade. And so now we need to talk about our offensive line. Now, this was very difficult for me to grade because last year they were so terrible that whatever improvement that the offensive line could have made in 2019 would have been tremendous. But while our offensive line has proven to be better, it still has its struggles. Josh is still top 10 in the league for being sacked. In fact, he's been sacked 21 times so far this season. But a lot of it really doesn't have to do with the O-line as a whole. Mitch Morse has been fantastic for the most part. But the problem is Cody Ford. He's a rookie. We got super excited about drafting him, but he really hasn't taken that step to the NFL quite yet. And it goes to show you how unready he really is, because when Ty and Secchi decided to take over for him against the Washington Redskins this past week, it seemed to be an entire different offensive line. And maybe it had to do with the fact that the Redskins D-line is not that talented. We don't know, but we are seeing improvements with that personnel switch up. So as far as our offensive line is concerned, it's really difficult for me to grade, like I said, because we were just so shitty last year. But I'm going to have to give our offensive line a C grade. Say that during the offseason, or say that during the draft that we improve that, then we will have an absolute brick wall, and you will be able to see Josh's production skyrocket. And so now it comes to our wide receivers, the Smurfs. Like our O-line last year, our receiving room was as bad, or if not substantially worse. The only notable name that we had was Robert Foster, and he's seen maybe 3 snaps all year. But with our additions so far during the offseason with John Brown and Cole Beasley, and with that surprise pickup with Duke Williams, I think that our receiving core has tremendously taken a step up. John Brown specifically, normally a number 2 guy, has become our number 1. He is one of the NFL's leaders in receptions and yards after the catch. He is the man. Without John Brown, I'm not sure where our offense would be today. Cole Beasley, we are finally unlocking him as well. In fact, the past 3 games, he has a touchdown pass. Seems to be in the exact same part of the end zone, but hey, whatever works. And then Duke Williams, who was hurt against the Washington Redskins, but has proven that if you throw the ball his way, he's going to come up with it. Now, we still need a number 1 guy. I'm still an advocate for that, but I'm, still super happy that we didn't go for anybody during the trade deadline. I really like the personnel that we have so far, and I think we could find somebody during next year's free agency and during the draft as well. But as far as our receivers are concerned, as long as we can continue to pound the run game with Devin Singletary, then I think that's going to give our receivers more opportunities to make bigger plays. As far as our receiving core is concerned, I'm going to have to drop them a B-. And so now we're getting into our defense, which in my opinion is the exact reason why we were 6-2. Starting with our secondary, I'm just going to tell you the grade right up. It's an A+. We have an incredible secondary. In fact, we rank 3rd in the league for the majority of the stats within the NFL so far this year. As far as completion percentage against opposing quarterbacks, you name it, we are in the top 5 at least. I mean, when it comes to Trey White, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer. We are absolutely just destroying the secondary game. And the beauty about it is that we are most likely about to see that exact same unit for next year as well. I have a feeling that we're going to extend Jordan Poyer, but as far as our secondary is concerned, as long as they stay healthy, I think that we are going to have a dangerous secondary for years to come, which is always a fantastic thing. With the bright spots, there are the dark spots. Which brings me to our rush defense. Whether or not that it's our D-line or our linebackers, we just can't seem to stop the fucking run. We can't, especially when you bring it up inside or up the middle. Now, there are a lot of things that could be improved from this rush defense. I mean, I think the past 3 games against Miami and against the Redskins and against the Eagles, they ran all over us. I mean, it was definitely atrocious. And I mean, right after the Miami game and right after the Philly game, I thought that we would make our adjustments, but it still seems like we have been struggling with that. And that may cause us some issues moving forward as our schedule gets significantly harder as we progress throughout the season. We did just pick up Leggett, I think that's how I pronounce it, from the Oakland Raiders. He was on the Chargers for a good time, and he's a pretty decent run blocker. I'm not going to see him make a huge impact. He wasn't necessarily a starter. I think it's just a really good depth move, but for all we know, maybe him moving to Buffalo is the only thing that he needed to reignite his career, but haven't seen the man play. So as far as grading our rush defense, I'm going to have to give it a C-, and that's being generous. We need to be able to stop the run in order for us to compete. And now, ladies and gentlemen, that is my grading of the Buffalo Bills so far in the 2019 season. Guys, we should be excited. I mean, finally, the city of Buffalo has a football team that we can be proud of. We're 6-2. And to be honest with you guys, I am very excited with how this season has turned out so far and what is going to happen throughout the next half of the season. I'm still sitting strong. Still sitting strong with my 13-3 record prediction. Worst case scenario, we would need to fall apart for us to go 10-6. Let's put it that way. But I mean, this team is a playoff team, and yes, we have things that we can improve on. So the teams that go 16-0 during the regular season, they have things to improve on. I'm not sitting here telling you that we have the perfect squad. We don't. But what makes it most impressive is regardless of who the opponent is, we're staying in that game, and our defense is giving us opportunities to win. And I don't think that we have seen our offense really blow up like it is going to in the next of this season. Guys, say that you're new to the channel. Make sure that you subscribe. I continuously put out Buffalo Bills content and NFL content. Like this video and say that you want to support the channel, then run over to my Patreon. It's www.patreon.com/Dan Mitchell. I have a lot of cool prizes. I'll shout you out in my videos, and I'll give you some other stuff. Just let me know. But besides that, guys, thank you for tuning in to yet another edition of the Don Mafia Report, and let's go Buffalo.